Let's start this. All right, I'm Claudio, here with Max Green of Escape to Fate for FIU The Beacon newspaper.
What's up?
Let's, break the ice.
Okay.
Let's ask you a question with a topic that's really near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Batman or Iron Man?
And
And just to let you know, your answer is going to decide how this interview is going to go.
right? Okay, well,
No pressure.
I know, right? As you're wearing a Batman. Well, normally, whenever the question comes up, it's always Batman because Batman is much more of a badass, just because he just goes out there and does his thing. But Iron Man is pretty badass too because, he's just well, they're both goddamn geniuses.
I don't know. Take away the suit. What's Iron Man?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was.
If I had to put them both in the Hunger Games, I think Bruce Wayne would win.
Oh, I think Bruce Wayne would definitely win.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Batman for sure.
All right, good answer. All right, so I've been a huge fan for like 6 years, so I can't just talk about the illegal downloading stuff. So
Absolutely, bring it.
how does it feel being on such a historical tour with people who've had such a history together? Following Reverse, Ronnie Radke, and Escape to Fate.
It's great. Actually, the tour is, I think it's gone above and beyond all our expectations. Just not only as musicians or bands, but also as friends with histories and pasts and stuff like that together. Like how we all met, how we've gotten back together. How the evolution of all of us as people, friends, and musicians and stuff has gone, and then to meet up on this playing field that we're on at the moment, and to be able to bring something. For the fan, honestly, I'd say this is like the first tour that probably either band has done, or any of us have done. It's not like we're not doing it just to go on tour. We're not doing it because we have to go on tour to promote an album. Like we're doing this for the fans. Like this is for everyone.
It's like a cathartic feel to it, right?
Yeah, so it's great. And there's such camaraderie. All of us hang out, tell stories, and joke around. And it's really, I've never had such a good kickoff to a tour where everyone and every band has gotten along so quickly than this tour. It's been phenomenal.
Nice. I expect a great show.
Well, of course.
Do you guys have any plans set up, like a timeline or any outline left, or for a new EP or album or anything you guys have in the works, really?
On our time off, while Craig was having his kid, I was staying with Kevin Thrasher, our lead guitar player, and he just lives right down the street from TJ. And so we would get together and, write and jam some stuff out or whatever else. And we got a couple songs done. And just actually the other day, Kevin was resetting up his studio. So it's really cool. I'd say that, we do, because now it's to the point where everyone in the band is so excited to be around each other and so excited to write. And we have such a fun time doing it that I think that, I'm looking forward to the next evolution of the band and the music, because I think it's going to be a really great one, just, based upon the feelings that we all have towards each other and the music, from so early on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's great. Can't wait to hear new music.
Yeah.
You guys have been here a few times in South Florida scene. What's your opinion on the scene here in general? Do you guys wish you could play her more, or do you think you could be better, or what?
Me personally, speaking for myself, I love coming to Florida and playing. I love it. The kids, there's always so much love in the crowd. They're all so grateful and stuff like that. They're always good shows. I've never had a bad Florida show ever in my life. So
yeah, we bring it hard.
Yeah.
Well, since this is for my newspaper, I thought add in a little school. Were you whenever you were in school? I don't know when, but were you ever involved, musically wise, in the school, or did you have a newspaper at the school that you read or anything?
Yeah, a bunch of my friends were on student council and stuff like that, and worked for yearbook committee or for the newspaper. And I was always in theater and stuff like that, and I was always pretty outspoken I was in theater a lot in high school, so I had few friends, but the friends I did have, I was like, hey, I'm here, everyone, and so I'd always participate in assemblies and stuff like that, and be involved in the school paper and whatnot. So it was cool.
All right, so let's get down to it. I'm really here for, well, not really, but mainly here for your opinion on illegal downloading and streaming apps and how it affects the music industry.
Yeah.
So I might throw out some numbers at you, so I hope it's not too boring.
Okay.
Because I did a little bit of research. 4 out of 5 digitally downloaded songs
Yeah.
these days is illegal.
Yeah.
So, do you see this? Do you see the availability of music today as a good or bad thing for the artists, the fans, and the industry in general? Like,
You know, it's funny that I'm doing this interview today because just yesterday, Craig and I were watching this thing on TV about Korn. They're doing these Guitar Center sessions, and one of the last couple questions that they were asking the band was about the band had been on major labels, sold millions of records, Korn's been around for a really long time. Well, recently, they're doing an album and they decided to do it independently and do it on their own. And the guy that signed them was like, he really didn't have a lot of faith in the band. It was like, you'll be lucky if you sell, 30,000 records. I'm just like thinking to myself when I heard this guy say this to Korn, I'm like, wow, that's so crazy saying this to a band like Korn. You're going to be lucky if you sell 30 or 80,000 records, I think it was actually for Korn. And this is, to a band that's multi-platinum, multi-millions of records sold. But that just goes to show how things have changed from 10 years ago to now, how it's like a band like Korn, multi-platinum over a period of albums over a decade or more, how people are saying to them now, oh, you'll be lucky to sell 80,000 records, and they went above and beyond. But also I think that has a lot to do with how hard a band works these days. I think a lot has to do with being a road dog, going out there and owning it and going above and beyond with things. It's almost like today, it's almost like having a double-edged sword. It's like the more you give away nowadays relates to how many songs you sell, rather how it used to be like just putting your album out there, doing your thing, staying mysterious. Oh my God, I want to know about this band, so I'm going to buy their album, open the booklet, and read all about it. Nowadays, it's completely flipped around. So it's almost like the more oversaturated you become as a band, and the more you put yourself out there, the more record sales you come to get from fans, the more fans you get. So I think illegal downloading is, it separates the men from the boys in the band world, in my opinion, nowadays. So.
It's funny you mentioned the platinum status of Korn. Do you think it's good to say, or any of your friends who are bands can break the, I guess we'll say, as the dry spell of hitting the platinum status or gold record or stuff like that?
Yeah, I do, and it's because of bands like Green Day, Foo Fighters, and stuff like that, and bands like Muse and 30 Seconds to Mars that are still achieving these things, and that makes it feel like it's not as much of a fairy tale pipe dream as you would think it would be. You know what I mean? I mean, especially I would say for a band in our position, just because it's like we've been around for a minute, we've got a lot of albums out, you know what I mean? So it's like, once again, it kind of goes back to the previous question I answered. It's all about how hard you want to work for it and how much time you want to put in, and to get to that level. Because I've noticed in the time that when I was in the band before, from my departure to now coming back, how the band has grown and the shows that I've been playing with these guys. And that just goes to show that on their last album, the crowd and the fans have grown immensely. So it's just about putting in your time, just like kind of with any job, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be president of a company, you want to make the millions or make the big bucks, you got to put in your time, you get promoted and stuff like that. So it's like every album's like a promotion, and you gain more and more.
All right.
I feel like I'm on point right now.
You're very on point.
So much, dude.
I expected this, though, so I'm not surprised. Does the fact that how people can easily get music so easily these days, you don't really have to sell the record, you more sell the show. Does that put any pressure on you? Like, if you put on a bad show, these kids aren't going to come back to see you. Because they can just listen to you anytime they want.
Not really. I mean, everyone has bad shows. I watched an interview like Green Day did where Billy Joel was talking about how, you have horrible shows and this and that. It makes you just want to quit doing music or whatever. But it all comes with the territory. And especially, since kids can look anything up, fans can look anything up online, it's really, I feel like they don't walk away from a bad show going, oh, this band sucks. I feel like, since everything is so, you can find anything on the internet nowadays, kids are more understanding of, oh, you know what, they could walk away from the show and go, oh my god, that was so killer, amazing, that I'm definitely going to go back. Or they could say, oh, you know what, I saw him before, this time it wasn't very good, but they're going to come back again because they know, like, you know, if you're a solid band, that you're going to bring it. And that's one thing that I've always liked about this band, is that I've always felt like we've been a solid band and brought it, and that was part of our success in the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I could definitely test that. I've seen you guys like 6 times already. All right, I'm gonna throw a little more numbers at you.
Okay.
Put it some, more. I don't know if you know this, but like under the law, illegal downloading. Say you're caught, which really doesn't happen that much. But if you're caught, for every song you download illegally, it's a $750 fine.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids these days would be like $1 million debts if someone actually caught them downloading songs.
Yeah.
So do you think this is like that penalty would be like too harsh or appropriate for what they're doing, or like that they're stealing art, quote unquote?
Well, no, it's definitely art. Actually,
I meant the stealing part.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll make another reference. I'm gonna make a reference during everything because I've been actually. I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff like that, and I watch a lot of things on. I watched this documentary a little while ago called Sound City by Dave Grohl, and he had a lot of people come in, Trent Reznor and stuff like that. And actually, because of that, I started watching these Trent Reznor interviews, and Trent Reznor actually said, there's this quote of him saying, "Isn't it funny how some kid can steal, or some fan, whoever, can steal one of your songs, and that's something that you dedicated like a year or more of your life to creating, this piece of art, this emotion that, you know, you drew from inside, that you sat in a room and with pen to paper, you know what I mean, pouring out your emotions and getting the music to back that and collaborate and to take this person on a ride, to make them inspired to feel a certain emotion. When they hear a song, it brings them back to a point in their life that a kid can either steal for free or buy for less than a cup of coffee."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. And how much money that it takes to put into making an album and stuff like that. And also, you know, we are in the age of the home studio, but that stuff isn't cheap either. You know what I mean? And how can you put a price on someone's time and someone's dedication to learning a craft of whether it be, engineering, computers, an instrument, or, you know, and ultimately both. That takes a lot of time and effort, and, you know, how can you put a price on that? So do I think $750 is too much? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? I mean, do I think that there's no way in hell that every kid who's gonna, you know, download a song or steal a song or file share a song, they're gonna get caught. Like, no, but I mean, you know, it is what it is, and so, you know, but I mean, that question just makes me think of what Trent Reznor was saying about, you know, all the time and effort that someone puts into something,
right,
and then putting it out, and the kids can get it for free, or, you know, you can get it for less than a cup of coffee,
yeah.
Which is weird. Just kind of puts things in perspective. You know, just look at it from, you know, someone else's point of view. You know, like the artist or musician's point of view. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind it because, like, again, like, it goes back to, you know, just kind of separates the men from the boys a little bit band wise, and you have to just go out there and, you know, keep putting it out there, because, you know, if you have dedicated fans, like, they will buy your stuff, you know what I mean, or they'll come to a show. And again, and also because of we're in the age of downloading, we're also now drifted into the age of we're not selling CDs anymore, we're selling the show and we're selling merchandise, you know what I mean? Bands, we're going to make our money touring, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and coming out to meet you and greet you and to sell you t-shirts and sign them. Like, that's how we're going to make our money now. And if we do all that stuff, you know, then you might buy our album, and that's awesome. But either way, the music's here for you. It's a piece of us, and like, that's why we do what we do. It's what separates us from normal 9-to-5 human beings, because we can't survive in that world. We survive in this world. You know what I mean? So
I like that. You really are on point tonight. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, as a kid, I used to illegally download like all the time. When LimeWire came out, I was astounded because I can get everything.
Right,
but like
right.
you said, you put it into perspective, you put your time and effort, and I like your band, so I'm going to buy the CD.
Yeah. I've never legally downloaded a single thing in my life.
Never,
ever. My uncle put FrostWire in my computer once, and I lost my and I got so pissed at him. I was like, "Do you realize like what I do for a living?" Yeah. I was like, "You're a dick."
Let's see. You kind of answered like a bunch of these questions all in one, anyways. But there's a study in 2012. I couldn't get the one from this year, but from 2012, the annual music study said that legal downloading decreased 26% that year because of streaming apps like Spotify or SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So do you think these streaming apps are like a good alternative in general to either CDs or illegal downloading? Do you support streaming apps like Spotify that only charge like $10 a month for literally like it's a magical land? I'll tell you, I used it for like a few months,
Right.
until I found out how much they pay.
Yeah.
But like, do you think it's a good alternative?
I mean, I think any alternative at this point is a good alternative, just because it's because of the amount, and not to come off and sound greedy or anything like that, because I've had all the money in the world and I've had no money, so it's like I know how it is to live on both sides of the fence. But just to see the amount of money that can be made and then that is taken away, and then like when you break it down to bands and split and management, lawyers and and everything else that goes in, bands really don't make as much money as people think you do.
Right. That's the shocking factor I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't, and that's when it comes to like putting your time in and shit like that. And legal downloading is just making your favorite band work 2-3 times as hard to be able to be there for you. You know what I mean? So I think apps like Spotify and stuff like that, I think that's kind of cool, because it's like, the artists do see a little bit of that, and it's a nice way, because like you said, legal downloading went down 26% because of that. So I think, do I think it's a good alternative? Yeah, because at this point, I think any alternative is a good alternative.
Right, besides, the legal part.
Yeah.
So anything that's not legal.
Yeah, I use Spotify, so it's cool.
Yeah.
I just started using it.
There's the last question. Do you use Spotify? Do you think it's at $10 a month? Like, is it worth it to charge $10 a month to like dive into a wonderland of music?
Right. I think it's cool. What I'll do is, since I don't download music or anything like that, what I do is I go on YouTube to like watch my favorite band's videos, and then I go like buy the album and stuff like that. Like, but I always make sure that I pay for it whenever I'm like, buying these. If I want it on one of my personal devices, like, it's bought.
So like in your dream world of how music is distributed, what would you say is like, if you had it your way, would you only have people be able to buy CDs? Like, is that like your end all be all of how music should be distributed? Like I know, like I said, I know you guys don't do this for the money,
right?
But once you think about how much money could have been made, it could have been made for like a better production, or more comfortable on,
Exactly. It really helps with bands, especially like, any band within like their first 5 years of touring. It really just help out, like, if people like bought CDs and stuff like that, or nowadays like you can buy singles and stuff like that, and a lot of bands I know, like All American Rejects, when we were on Interscope and they were on Interscope at the same time, one of the big things about that band was like, they weren't selling albums, they were selling singles, but they were doing well enough selling their singles that it didn't affect them as much as it would by someone just not buying an album at all, just like downloading stuff. And that's cool, because it's like, they put in the hard work, they tour, they've been around for a while, like you said, and so people are buying their singles, they're still buying something. In a perfect world, yeah, I would love for Napster never have been created. That would be great. People want to, forever people have been like dubbing tapes.
Did you see Napster on my paper that way?
No,
I wrote Napster on there too.
People have been dubbing tapes, stuff like that. I remember when I was in the 7th grade, Manson came out with Antichrist Superstar, and I wanted that CD so bad. My parents wouldn't let me buy it. I was too young to buy it because I had parental advisory on it, so I had one of my friends, Tyler, dub me a tape of it, and he dubbed me a tape. But I still went out and bought it because I wanted the CD and the booklet, and that goes back to, the artist, the art and the artist, and the representation of the album, and giving something to the fans that they can like physically touch.
Yeah,
and
it's
see
like
and
a
read
physical
through.
bond when you buy the CD, right?
Exactly, and that's a lot different, from like having something on, a phone or a computer and flipping through a digital booklet, like, but yeah, I would love if, in a perfect world, if people, if Napster was never created, if it never went down, or if it was, like, banned, because of all the that it has started, you know what I mean?
Because I had it on the paper, I didn't read it, but Napster, since its conception, has cost the industry, from what I read, my sources, $12.6 billion. So just imagine what that all could have gone to.
Exactly, and it also spawned so many others, like the Frostwire, the LimeWire, the Pirate Bay, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It'll never be stopped because there's just too many, dude. Strength in numbers, and they've got the numbers. So it's like it'll never be stopped. But hopefully it can be slowed down, or there can be a level playing field at some point, some kind of like meeting ground. where
which is
you know,
like what Spotify and stuff like that is like offering
Exactly.
some kind of level.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, well.
So, but thanks
great interview. You know.
Yeah.
Really on point. Thank you for seeing us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to say farewell to the camera?
Yeah, thanks for coming out. This is Max Stream from Escape the Fate, and
we'll see you
thanks.
online.
Absolutely.
See you. All right. Thank you very much.
What's that?
You're such a good speaker.
Sure didn't read these questions before?